Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. So it looks like China is going to be issuing out a digital currency. This is for real this time. I got this article coming out of Forbes. Now, the digital currency has been developed. It's ready to go into operation. They're going to do some pilot programs before I think it hits before it goes big. Now, the big idea behind digital currency, especially when it comes from an authoritarian state, is that this is not a distributed ledger technology like Bitcoin. Okay, this is a very centralized communication with the central authority, meaning that they say yay or nay to who has what. They know exactly where every piece of wealth is going. It is completely transparent to them, and they control it all. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is very different. Bitcoin is a distributed ledger technology, meaning that there is no central authority over it. Although you may be able to see where all the transactions are going, what you don't know and what you can't do is stop them from happening, okay? And you don't know exactly who it is unless you know who the wallet belongs to, which you could figure it out, I guess. And there's probably FBI computer programs that can do that just completely efficiently, I'm sure. Now, the digital ledger technology, or the digital currency coming from China, on the other hand, now this is for authoritarian purposes. And it's also going to give China the availability to go into negative interest rates. So you need a digital currency, you need an e-currency, something that you can't get out in cash, in order to take your deposits into negative. So as far as I know, there's only been 2 cases where there's been negative interest rates on deposits. One of them was recently out of Denmark, where I think you had to have close to $1 million deposited with them before they would charge you a negative rate. And then way back in the late 70s, Swiss bank accounts were charging a negative interest rate on foreigners who deposited money with them because it was growing the Swiss franc too strong and it was killing their exports. So they started charging people in negative interest rates if they wanted to try and put their wealth inside of the Swiss banks. So those were the 2 times that I can think of where they were charging a negative interest rate on deposits. And the reasons why they can't charge a negative interest rate on deposits is because you would just simply pull all your money out in cash. Nobody would allow a negative interest rate on their deposits when they can just pull it all out in cash. So an e-currency is an absolute must if you're going to go into a negative interest rates, especially on deposits. See, right now, negative interest rates applies to the big banks and their deposits. It doesn't come down to the people's deposits until much farther down the line. And when it does, like I said, we'll just pull our money out in cash. So they have to have this e-currency, and the way it's going to work is that they're going to take the e-currency, and every time you deposit your check, it's going to be an e-currency. And cash is going to devalue to e-currency. So it's going to force you to keep it in e-currency. But if it sits in e-currency, it's going to devalue from a negative interest-bearing account. You see how they're going to do this? This is how they're going to get cash out of the system and then charge you a negative interest rate on your e-currency. And China is probably going to be the first one to do it, since they're the first one issuing out a real digital currency. This is very interesting stuff, guys. Now, I know I did a video a while back talking, I think it was Tunisia, I said it was doing a cryptocurrency, but I was wrong about that. It was a rumor, and I took it from a not very reliable publication. And so I immediately did a video following it up, correcting the mistake on it. But this time, this one's coming from Forbes. I'll leave a link down in the description. You guys can judge it for yourself. But I feel that China would be a logical place to issue out a digital currency. Those people over there, they already use their phones for pretty much all transactions. They don't really use cash or credit cards or debit cards. So switching over to an e-currency is probably something their people probably wouldn't even notice much. And then as time goes on and all the cash is out of the system and everything is running on the digital currency, now they can start charging negative interest rates on deposits. And this is a way that the world could actually exist in a negative interest rate world. I mean, you can create as much as you want of these digital illusions and just call it what it is, whatever it is. It's going to make gold and silver very valuable, I would assume. It would make actually any asset. If you had anything, I think it would be valuable other than a currency. But in the meantime, I think cash is at some point going to get very hard to come by, and it's going to carry a lot of premium with it. I do. I feel that cash is going to be a scarce item that people are going to be in big demand for at least a short time. Anyway, uneducated economist. You guys let me know.